I mean, I love pickles.
Nothing better than some cold pickles coming out of like a ice cold jar, like keeping it down in the ice all day.
Yeah, with a nice snap to it, you know?
Man, you could.
Yeah, man. All right. Well,
I don't know how we got in pickles, but it does kind of tie back into pickleball.
It's all connected. Hey, welcome to the Adler.TV show. I'm Chris Adler. Every week I've got a different guest, a different location, a different topic every episode. This week's guest is a professional pickleball player and coach named Scott Golden. He travels the country playing and coaching pickleball. He has his own personalized pickleball paddle made by Monarch. And if you go to, in fact, right now, go to dickssportinggoods.com. Scott's personalized pickleball paddle, the Golden Axe, made by Monarch, is now available if you use the code GOLDENBOY at checkout. Golden Boy, that's one word. You get 10% off and free shipping. And now here to tell us all about pickleball, here's Scott Golden, a.k.a. the Golden Boy of pickleball. I'm out here at the Finley Recreational Center, something like that. I'm out here at this crazy new building in Birmingham that I didn't even know was here, watching a bunch of people play a game that I didn't even know existed. I'm here with Scott Golden.
That's correct.
And he plays this sport that I've never even heard of. He coaches this sport professionally, like as a vocation. He goes all around town and the country. It's crazy. So I've got two questions for you, Scott.
You got it.
What is pickleball? Secondly, why is pickleball?
Okay. All right. So first question, to answer that simply, what is pickleball? Pickleball is a combination of badminton, ping pong, and tennis, kind of all mixed together in one. Believe it or not, Chris, the sport was invented back in 1965 in Bainbridge Island, Washington, out in the Northwest. And the way it really got started was it was a rainy day. Out there, of course, it rains a lot during the rainy season.
Yeah.
So they had a group of families together at one of the houses, and it was rainy, and the kids were driving them crazy. And so what they did was they said, hey, you kids go out in the backyard and go hit around with this. It was a badminton court, but they didn't have any actual badminton, I don't know what you call it, rackets.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any birdies. So what they did was they
which
took
is
a
also
wiffle ball.
Which is also called a. Well, this is a kids program, so we won't tell what it's called in badminton.
I know the other term.
Yeah, so we'll keep going. We'll
keep it PG here.
This is a family program. So
that's right. But yeah, so they didn't have those accessible, but they had a badminton court, which is actually very similar in size to the pickleball court.
Yeah.
So the kids went out there and just started goofing off. They had a wiffle ball, and I think they had a ping pong paddle.
Okay.
Initially.
Yeah.
Well, they were just kind of goofing off. Well, then the dads came out, and they started getting involved. And you know what happens when competitive guys start doing something.
Well, yeah.
They start kind of getting going, and then before you know it, they're creating some rules, and all of a sudden, the net's too high, so they brought the net down.
Definitely.
So over a process of several months, these dads kept getting together and creating this sport, but really just for recreational purposes. They did not intend for this to be the way it is right now in 2019.
Yeah.
It was just originally a way for the kids to get out of their hair.
Yeah. And so fast forward to today, I'm in this gigantic fitness complex that has, how many basketball courts can this thing fit?
I think they said 9 collegiate basketball courts. I believe it's 83,000 square feet.
It's amazing. This is unbelievable. And it's now filled with pickleball courts. And people are playing. You've got 300 participants over
the website says 315 participants this time.
Yeah, we're walking through this place, and I've noticed that you know a lot of these people. It seems like pickleball is kind of a close-knit group.
Very much so, and I'm very much a social person, and I get to travel all over the country. I've met a lot of amazing people over the last 2.5 years, and I am known around the pickleball community pretty well.
I'm kind of a big deal.
No, I mean, I just have done a good job of networking, and my nickname inside pickleball is the Golden Boy.
Yeah.
So it kind of stuck, and That nickname has kind of floated around the pickleball community for a little while now, a couple years. So people definitely recognize me when I come around. So.
That is fantastic, man. So yeah, you've got sponsors and stuff. Like they pay for you to go around across the country and coach people and play people. How did you make this happen? I didn't even know this thing existed, and you've got stinking sponsors and like your own racket, or what's it called?
It's a paddle, yeah. No worries. Racket, paddle, it's all the same. But we do call it a paddle. But the quick version is that I owned a landscape company for years. Since I was 14 years old, I've been in landscaping. Yeah. Actually, my twin brother, Chris, he still owns a landscape company, actually. But started my own landscape company in 2005. And in the end of 2016, I was kind of burned out from landscaping, years and years out in the sun.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a brutal business. It's a hot business. And
my brother and I both did it for a few years as well.
Then you know firsthand what that entails.
In Texas. Where were you doing it? In Alabama?
In Alabama, yeah.
Okay, well, same thing.
Multiple states, but Alabama was the majority of it since 2005.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know firsthand how hot it gets during the summer.
Oh, my goodness. It's brutal.
So I was 32 years old, and I was getting burned out anyway. And I went to Herdmont Park, which is local right here in Oak Mountain. And believe it or not, they have 2 dedicated pickleball courts right next to the tennis courts. I had probably walked by those courts, Chris, 100 times, and I just thought they were little tennis courts for the little kid.
Yeah, kid courts.
I'd never seen anybody actually playing on them at that time.
Yeah.
And so one night, though, I went out there, and I heard the distinct sound that a wiffle ball makes on this paddle.
Yes.
And you cannot mistake that sound. And being the nosy person that I am, I asked the guy, hey, what are you doing? And that night in October of 2016, he put a paddle in my hand, and I've been addicted ever since.
That's awesome. That is great. So yeah, it's like the rules seem to be pretty similar to tennis.
Yes and no. The main differences, there's 3 main rules, Chris, that distinguish pickleball and differentiate pickleball from any other sport.
Yeah.
The 2 bounce rule.
Oh.
Serving underhand.
Okay.
And then the non-volley zone, also known as the kitchen.
The kitchen. I was about to call it the refrigerator.
That's not
kitchen,
right.
Okay,
bedroom,
the kitchen.
Whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the kitchen.
And that's right on the net. You're not supposed to be right on the net in pickleball.
Correct.
And that's marked. Is that marked?
It is marked. It's a 14 by 20 area, 7 feet off of each side of the net. And the reason that exists is because in tennis, you can serve and then volley at the net.
Right.
But in pickleball, the reason those 3 rules exist is because when they created this sport back in 1965, they wanted a 12-year-old grandson to be able to get on the court with a 75-year-old grandpa.
Sure.
And it be relatively even in skill. And so these 3 main rules that we just discussed neutralize and basically level out the playing field between age, skill, and all those background in sports. The great thing about pickleball, Chris, is that you actually don't have to have a background in a racket sport. It obviously helps if you played tennis growing up, right?
Sure.
Or table tennis, but it's not a requirement. And that's why this sport's growing so fast across the nation and actually across the world right now.
Yeah, I would definitely say that I've never heard of pickleball until maybe 7-8 months ago. And now I hear about pickleball all the time. It's just like another thing that people do. So that you having this career now really has just showed me that I never should have given up on my dreams of becoming a professional hacky sack player.
Boom,
So,
I agree.
I mean,
but if that was the case, we wouldn't be sitting here doing an interview right now either.
That's right.
You'd be traveling the world playing hacky sack somewhere right now.
Yeah, I got to look into that. Maybe I can make it happen still.
Never too late.
It's never too late.
Chase your dreams,
That's
Chris.
right. Never give up on your dreams, kids.
Never.
Ever.
And stay in school.
But once the pickleball play begins, you can go overhand. You can do can you put English on it just in tennis?
You absolutely can. Now it's not quite. It doesn't grab quite as much because you've got strings on a tennis racket.
Yeah.
Or on a pickleball paddle.
Yeah.
You don't have that. You have a smooth surface. Okay.
Sure.
You can add some graphite. You can add some composite, some fiberglass. You mix and match stuff. But ultimately, between a slick, hard wiffle ball and a smooth paddle, you're not going to be able to grip it like you do a tennis ball.
Yeah.
But the high-level pro players in this sport
Yeah.
can do some amazing things with the pickleball.
Put a little backspin on it, and the ball just drops.
Absolutely.
Are they? I mean, they're even in like professional tennis. Because the way I learned about putting English on the ball was just in ping pong, just playing with my brother in the basement. And when we realized, like, oh my goodness, you can really mess somebody up if you just put a good bit of spin on the ball. It's gonna bounce and then go a totally different direction than they think it's gonna go. They do that in like professional tennis, like still, right? Or are they just hitting it as hard as they can?
No, they absolutely do that. Now,
Okay,
Roger
okay.
Federer is one of the best in the world, and he's known for his drop shots in tennis, and
That's right.
he's very deceptive with what he does with his game. He doesn't overpower people.
Yeah.
What he does is he manipulates people.
He just
on the
places
court.
it.
Yeah, and the same thing with pickleball, Chris.
Yeah.
There are certain players that everybody, if you were to watch every player that plays pickleball, each person has their own little quirky things and their own little unique style. But ultimately, you're not going to be able to do the same things you can with the tennis ball. But there are things you can do to manipulate and dictate where you want to move your part or your opponent and things like that.
For sure.
It makes it really fun. This game, as you go up in the ranks, it becomes more of a chess match.
Right.
Because everybody's physically talented. Everybody's got the skill set.
Yeah.
So what distinguishes the difference is right here.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
the mental game and
Right.
the chess match of making that move, maybe thinking 2 shots ahead.
You're right. right.
Setting something up ahead of time.
Yeah.
To be able to put the ball away. So yeah, there's a lot of little nuances with this game.
And I'm noticing that a lot of people that are here in this tournament are, 30 or over. I mean, we got some kids here playing too. You mentioned there's a 15-year-old named
Nicky Gulowicz.
Yeah, and he's like a champ of some kind. What is he? He won something, nationals or something?
He's won a couple national titles out in California and the U.S. Open in Bonita Springs, Florida, or Naples, Florida. But 18 and under is considered the juniors division.
Yeah.
And that's where he's winning that. He's playing against other junior players. But, he's here. He actually was living in Atlanta, Georgia at one time.
Yeah.
And he moved down to the Fort Myers, Florida area. And I'm living in Bonita Springs, which is about 20 minutes south of there.
Excellent. So I'm noticing that a lot of people here are 30 or above. And as I get deeper into my 30s, I understand why tennis just wouldn't work if you want to play it play as hard as you can. I can understand why it wouldn't work. You're running, you're sprinting, you're stopping, and that is tough on your knees. And you don't see as much of that here just because with it being a smaller court, like you said, it turns into much more of a mental game, which then allows you to play that at the highest level later in life, which, you got to have hobbies, man. Just like men, I think, do a better job of having hobbies than women, because like shopping isn't a hobby. A hobby is something that you work at and you get better, and it's hard. It challenges you. It makes you better as a person, that kind of thing. But you got to have hobbies. You know what I'm saying?
I agree 100%.
And as I get older, as I feel my knees more, as I feel my digits way more in everything that I do, I have to think that way.
You have to start thinking that way.
When I'm looking for things that I want to do going forward in my life for fun, because I want to have those challenging hobbies and things like that, So
absolutely.
I can see. I guess I just answered my own question as far as
you did.
Why it's pickleball.
Yeah, and keep in mind as well that it is less than half the size of an actual tennis court.
Yeah.
And in tennis, it's primarily singles that you play.
Yeah.
In pickleball, it's the majority of play that you see is going to be in doubles.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's the big thing. So you've got a 20-foot wide court, and you've got 2 people covering that 20 feet. So it's basically, if you split it halfway, it's 10 feet each.
Yeah.
Which is not hard to cover.
That's great. Yeah. You're
So-
kind of like a goalie.
Yes, absolutely, like a goalie. The other thing that the reason, Chris, that this sport is just exploding across the nation and the world is because it's such a social sport.
Yeah.
It's a very social sport.
Everybody's real close.
Everybody's very close in proximity. The difference that I've noticed, because I never came from a tennis background, but the biggest thing I've noticed is in tennis, and I'm not knocking tennis, guys, so for Helmsy or Bubba or anybody that plays tennis, this is not a knock on tennis. It's a little more reserved.
Sure.
You're not going to talk smack. You're not going to be real social with the opponent. But in pickleball, there's a different vibe, Chris.
Yeah.
When you hit a great shot on me in an intense match, I'm going to go ahead and give you credit for that and give you a props for a good shot. Where in tennis, you're taught not to speak to the opponent. You don't shake hands at the end of the match if there's some intensity with it or whatever.
Right.
But in pickleball, it's different. It's very social, very fun. A lot of people will play, and then they go out to eat afterwards.
Where did the name pickleball come from? Why you call it pickleball?
The name came from it derives from two different stories.
Okay.
One of the main stories that everybody says is that the dog of one of the owners would chase the ball when they would be playing. The ball would roll over there, and the dog would go chase it. And the people would say, that's Pickle's ball, because he would chase it. That's Pickle's ball.
Because the dog's name was Pickle.
Pickles.
Pickles. Okay,
Yep.
okay.
The dog's name was Pickles, and when he would chase the ball, they'd say, that's Pickle's ball.
Okay.
And then it eventually came to Pickleball was the name because the dog was always chasing the ball. But the real version, one of the wives
So
of
that's
the original,
not the true story. That's more of just like a feel-good story.
That is, and that's what the media kind of picked up on and ran with.
Sure.
Because it's just an easier story to tell, too.
Everybody loves dogs. Who doesn't love dogs?
I don't trust anybody that doesn't love dogs. I'm just saying. So the truth is, the name actually came from this, and it's a little more complicated, but it does make sense if you really think about it. Up in the Northwest, not down here, obviously, but in the Northwest, there is a sport called rowing.
Okay,
out on the water.
yeah.
Colleges,
Sure.
Ivy League colleges do it a lot,
Yeah.
right?
Auburn's got a rowing team.
Auburn does have a rowing team. So, so I stand corrected. It is actually down here in the South as well.
Yeah.
But it's heavier, primarily
for
up
sure.
there.
That's true. Yeah.
So anyway, back in 1965, rowing was a big sport up there, and on Bainbridge Island, that was a big thing. So the wife of one of the original inventors, she was watching them play, and she said, "This reminds me of the pickle boats in rowing." A pickle boat in rowing, and I'm not an expert on rowing. I've never rowed, but pickle boat was the term used for the extra crew that was not the main, like, starting five or whatever on a basketball team, right?
Yeah.
They were like the extras in case somebody got hurt or a boat broke or something.
Sure.
That would be the extra boat. And it was a mixture of different people.
Yeah.
She said, this game reminds me of the pickle boats because of badminton, ping pong, and tennis all mixed together. It was kind of a combination of those three that reminded her of that. So that's the actual story.
That's the real story.
But people love the dog one.
Yeah, I mean the dog one it's got a little more charm to it, but that way it's good to stick to the truth, you
Sure,
know.
Absolutely. What were your first thoughts when you heard about the sport pickleball? What did you think?
It reminded me, honestly, in college, my friends and I, when we were bored, we would go out on the tennis courts, and none of us had tennis rackets or tennis balls or whatever. But I had a soccer ball. I played soccer in high school. I had a soccer ball, and we're just out on the tennis court, just one day, just kicking it over the net to each other back and forth, and the next thing we knew, we had a set of rules. We had teams.
See?
I mean,
You're
it was
proving the
awesome.
point.
Yeah, and it's called soccer tennis.
Soccer tennis.
Yeah, and you're on the court, and you serve it like normal, but you kick it over. It's all feet, no rackets or anything like that. It's all feet. You get 2 bounces to get it back over.
See, there you go.
You know,
you guys started creating your game.
We made our own sport. Yeah, we would play doubles soccer tennis. Like, we would do it for hours and hours and hours, and it was awesome. It was a blast. And that's what I'm reminded of here. I'm just like, man, when you find something that's fun and it gets traction, that's undeniable. You know, like maybe Bruno Mars isn't your favorite artist in the world, but you can't deny that tons and tons of people like him. He sells lots of records.
He does,
you know?
indeed.
Maybe you don't like Nickelback. They've sold a ton of records. You cannot deny that, you know? So maybe if you're not a fan of pickleball, don't knock it till you try it. And then
that's for sure.
If you try it and you don't like it, let other people enjoy it, because there's obviously a ton of people that are getting into it.
Absolutely, yeah. And right now, the numbers across the globe right now in pickleball as a whole, I think are around 4 million people playing.
Wow.
But as far as tournament players, it's a lot less than that. It's a lot less. We're maybe at 1.2 million as far as tournament players. So it's still in the infancy stages.
Yeah.
But I did want to tell you that there is a very professional side to this sport. This is of a smaller tournament. We don't have a ton of pros here.
Yeah.
But there are big tournaments where we play for a lot of money. Relatively speaking, it's not on
like what would be the top prize or for the champion?
one of the top females in November, she won about $9,000 playing pickleball for a week.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's not bad money playing pickleball.
Yeah, man, that's great. That's
I
great.
mean, it's not bad. It's nowhere near tennis, but also keep in mind, we're not on TV yet with pickleball.
Right, totally.
So we don't have the big sponsorships. We don't have the Mercedes and the Lexus and
Sure.
all these big corporate sponsors outside of pickleball.
Most definitely.
But in November at Nationals in California, we did have ESPN filming Nationals.
Excellent.
So it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, y'all should at least be on when ESPN does the ESPN the Ocho thing.
Absolutely.
Y'all should be one of the featured games on there.
I think it's coming. It's in the pipeline, Chris.
Okay.
It's in the pipeline.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good things happening right now. But also keep in mind, one of our top pros, his name's Tyson McGuffin. He makes well above six-figure, the bottom range of a six-figure income.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he works hard. He travels all over the country teaching and playing and all that stuff. But just understand, it's getting there. There is a very, very professional side to this, and it's getting more and more professional each month that goes by.
Is it Federer that's probably going to retire here soon?
I think so. I thought he was going to retire about 3 years ago, but he just keeps on beating people at the top of the game.
Yeah, it's amazing. So maybe once he decides his knees are taking too much beating, just fold him right into the next game, which is pickleball. Boom, there's your platform.
I might blow your mind just a little bit, Chris. Andre Agassi and Andy Roddick have already played pickleball several times. They've gone to some in charity events in Texas.
Yeah.
And then we've also had, actually, this is a little fact that a lot of people don't know, the Pro Golf Tour.
Yeah.
A lot of the pro golfers are using pickleball as cross-training in the off-season to stay active and good hand-eye coordination.
Yeah,
keep
totally.
sharp, having fun. A couple of the big names, Hank Haney. If anybody knows Hank Haney, Hank built a pickleball court in his backyard.
He's a big tennis guy?
He's a big golfer.
Oh, he's a big golfer guy.
Big golfer.
Sorry.
I didn't know who Hank Haney was, I have to admit, until
Obviously, I'm not much of a golfer.
me and you, we're not known for our golf repertoire. But understand, these guys are doing this because, number one, it's fun. It's active. It's a great workout, Chris. But it's also competitive.
Yeah.
It gets your competitive
Totally.
juices going.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Like, it's great to have challenges in your life that aren't like normal life world challenges, because those are kind of like real and like the stakes are really truly high.
That's right.
And then once you introduce challenges like this, like pickleball or whatever, I do jujitsu, that kind of thing. Cool. It's great to have those kind of challenges, because then you can, some of your life energy you can put towards that, and some of your mental energy you can put towards that, and it's like cross training, like
for sure.
I think cross training is so beneficial for everybody in life. Like, yes, you should play pickleball, and yes, you should go fishing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
I feel like people sometimes get stuck in a rut sometimes, and it's because they're not trying out new things.
Balance, right? Balance in life is an important thing.
And so you're based. You flew in from Florida today.
I did.
And this weekend you will play how many games? And you're going for gold?
Always going for the gold. My last name's Golden, so I have high expectations to try to win a gold every time. If I'm at tournaments and I'm not winning gold, people around will call me the silver boy, the bronze boy, not the golden boy. So, I have a lot of expectations to keep up, but no, I'll play. I didn't play singles today, and the main reason for that is I'm getting older. I'm 35 now. My knees and joints don't do as well.
I feel you, man.
But also, I flew in really late last night. I flew in after midnight from Fort Lauderdale into Atlanta, and then actually drove over from Atlanta. So I didn't get a chance to really sleep a whole lot last night, and I didn't want to come out here and just get embarrassed,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you're the golden boy. You've got a reputation to uphold. Yeah. So do you do like fish oil for your knees or anything like that? You do any kind of supplements or
I
anything
don't.
like that?
I'm actually pretty fortunate with my ankles and my knees right now. What I have an issue with is my hips and my lower back.
Yeah.
My lower back seems to, because of, if you watch the people play, especially in doubles, you're always down low, and it's a lot of lateral side-to-side movement.
Yeah.
So people's hips get displaced a lot, and also just some twisting and just some back pain usually.
Sure.
I go to the chiropractor, also get massages. That's kind of part of my regimen.
Yeah.
To play at the 5-0 and above level, I'm a very, very low 5-0.
Okay.
I am rated. officially at 5.0 in men's and mixed.
Nice.
There's a ranking system, a rating system.
Evidently, yeah.
But it goes from 1.0 all the way up to 6.0.
Okay.
The highest pro level is usually 5.5 to 6.0.
Okay.
I'm a low 5.0, like I said, but even at that level, Chris, it's very, very hard on your body at that level.
Sure.
If you're playing at the 2.5, 3.0, maybe 50 plus, 60 plus, it's not going to be quite as demanding on your body, but still, I mean, it's still, you're running around and stuff like that.
Sure. So you're a 5.0 and you're going to be playing against who this weekend?
So one of our big pro names here, his name's Frank Anthony Davis. His nickname is FAD, F-A-D.
Okay.
And he's here now.
I'm glad you spelled it. Okay.
Yep,
All right.
F-A-D.
Okay.
For anybody that didn't know. And he actually won the gold in singles today.
Yeah.
Mainly because I didn't play.
That's the only reason.
That's it. I gave him a chance to win. I didn't want him, on my home courts to embarrass him, No, I'm just kidding. Frank is a top player in singles in our sport.
Yeah.
He's also a very strong doubles player. So I'll be playing against Frank Anthony Davis in men's doubles on Sunday.
Excellent.
And then I'm not sure if he's playing mixed doubles, but mixed doubles is a man and a woman.
Yes.
And they play against other male and female players.
And it has to be a man and a woman.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And you have ratings.
Yeah.
So you play at a 3.0, a 3.5. So obviously I'll play at the 5.0 level. So our group will have, 5 or 6 teams or 7 teams maybe in there. But be a lot of fun, man. Be a lot of fun.
Well, good luck, man. I hope it goes good for you. And I'll be looking for your official Golden Boy merchandise, which will be available in Dick's Sporting Goods.
Exclusively at Dick's Sporting Goods. Monarch is actually owned by Dick's Sporting Goods.
Okay.
That's their in-house brand, and they sell Monarch inside Dick's Sporting Goods exclusively. And my Golden Axe paddle that's coming out this week, actually.
Dude, killer name.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a longer blade paddle.
Oh, cool.
And I want them to come out with a second version that's the Golden Hammer, which is a wide version.
Nice.
Version. So maybe they'll listen to me, maybe they won't. I don't know.
Yeah. That's so great, man. Well, thank you so much for being on. And I'll link all the appropriate places to go for more information. If you've got a contact that if people want to be coached by you, because you do coaching.
I do coaching down PickleBallAcademy.com.
Okay.
PickleBallAcademy.com. If somebody comes down to Florida and they want to learn about pickleball, they want to take a lesson from a professional. Simone Jardim's the #1 female player in the world. That's who owns Peak Performance Pickleball Academy, her and her husband.
That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
Peak Performance Pickleball.
Peter Piper picked a pickle or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I thought was great. But yeah, so if they want to learn about pickleball, that's a great way to do that. But yeah, man, I mean, pickleball is growing. One last question for you, though, Chris, before we go.
Sure.
Are you going to try pickleball?
I will try pickleball. I will try it.
Are you scared you might get addicted to it and want to play it a lot?
I have a very addictive personality, so yes.
Absolutely. I think we might see Chris Adler more on the pickleball courts in the near future.
Oh, and do you like pickles?
I do like pickles. Actually, I drink pickle juice when I'm cramping.
Oh, I've heard that works really well.
It does. It's excellent. It has nothing to do with pickleball except pickle juice has a lot of the nutrients and the things that you need for whatever reason. It replenishes your body. Yeah,
no, I love pickles. Like anything fermented like that, I try to eat a little bit of fermented something or other, whether it's kimchi or kombucha. People are going crazy for kombucha here. Apple cider vinegar.
I don't enjoy that as much as I do the kombucha.
It's brutal. It's so brutal, but I've been going for it recently.
Do you take it?
Dude, I do. Yeah, I take apple cider vinegar every day. Like last month, I've never had a problem like this before, but like last month, like my stomach just started hurting, man. I was having I don't know what was going on, like a bug.
It's over 30.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, no joke. Get ready for more and more, right?
That's right.
So my stomach's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I had this terrible bug. Like I couldn't eat anything. I was on the brat diet, bread, rice, applesauce, and toast. Keeping it real simple for weeks. And I'm like, man, this sucks. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I finally started taking a little bit of apple cider vinegar. And what I think happened is that I got a stomach bug and my stomach purged everything that's in there.
Absolutely.
Because it's trying to get rid of the bug, and when it gets rid of that bug, it gets rid of all the healthy
everything.
Yeah, the healthy gut
cleans you
biome.
out.
Yeah, and so I had nothing, so I couldn't handle even simple stuff like chicken was just ripping me to pieces.
Wow.
It would be 8 hours of just pain from my left side to my right. I'm just man, this is brutal. Apple cider vinegar, I think that helped kick up the beneficial bacteria,
Absolutely.
in the gut.
Have you seen a difference? You feel better?
I feel 100% normal. Yeah, I feel great.
Your
Feel
pickleball
totally good.
game's going to be peak performance right out of
I'm
the
going
gate.
to be peak performing pickleball perfectly.
That's it for this episode. Thank you to Wilson for sponsoring the Heritage Pickleball Tournament with over 300 participants, thousands of spectators, and over 600,000 positive economic dollars impacted on the community, with proceeds benefiting Children's Hospital. Children's Hospital is the nonprofit of the week. For more information on that and everything mentioned in this episode, check out my website, adler.tv. And remember, if you go to dickssportinggoods.com, Scott's personalized pickleball paddle, the Golden Axe by Monarch, is now available. And if you use the code GOLDENBOY at checkout, you get 10% off and free shipping. Also, feel free to send me suggestions for future guests and topics, and feedback is always appreciated, and reviews on iTunes are amazing, just like you. See you next time.
I'm hanging out here at the Heritage Pickleball Tournament, and I'm the only one from the Rick and Bubba show that has the guts to show up here. In fact, where's Rick and Bubba? Nowhere. They're not here.